All right, if you live in Dubai, you know this isn't just an appliance, it's your lifeline. Today, we're diving into the Dubai AC Survival Guide. Because let's be honest, when that summer heat hits, understanding your air conditioner isn't just about being comfortable, it's about making it through the day. So picture this. It's the middle of August, the temperature is soaring to 50 degrees Celsius. And then, nothing. Just silence. Your AC has given up. It is the absolute nightmare scenario for anyone living here. So, what's your game plan? That's exactly what we're going to figure out today. So, here's what's on deck. We'll start with why Dubai's climate is basically a torture test for ACs. Then, we'll get into the big debate, maintenance versus repair. We'll give you a super simple checklist for things you can do yourself, help you figure out what those weird noises and leaks actually mean, and finally, we'll nail down exactly when to throw in the towel and call the pros.
Okay, first things first, let's get one thing straight. In a lot of places around the world, air conditioning is a nice to have, a luxury. But here in Dubai, no way. It's essential infrastructure, right up there with electricity and running water.
I mean, just think about the sheer stress we put these machines under. They're not just kicking on for a couple of months. They are in a constant, year-round war against brutal heat, that fine desert dust, and, of course, the humidity. That dust, by the way, it's a real killer. It basically wraps your AC's coils in a warm blanket, forcing it to work way, way harder and sending your DWA bill through the roof. So this all leads to a really fundamental choice every single one of us has to make. Are you going to be proactive about this and focus on maintenance, or are you going to be reactive and wait for repairs? Trust me, the answer to that question is going to define not just your summer, but also your bank account.
Let me break it down with an analogy we all get. AC maintenance. That's like taking your car for its scheduled service. It's all about preventing a breakdown. AC repair? That's the tow truck you're calling after you've already broken down in the middle of Sheikh Zayed Road. One is planned and calm, the other is a stressful, expensive nightmare.
And if you need one single statistic to convince you to be proactive, this is it. Look at that. A whopping 70 to 80% of major wallet-busting AC repairs could be completely avoided with just simple, regular maintenance. That's a huge number. And here's what that looks like in dirhams. This chart tells the whole story. That little bar on the left, that's what a year of maintenance might cost you. That giant bar on the right, that's the cost of just one major repair, like a compressor dying on you. The math is pretty simple, right? A little bit of prevention saves an absolute fortune down the line. Okay, but what if your AC is already acting up a bit? Before you hit the panic button and call for help, there are actually a few really simple things you can check yourself, and doing so might just save you a service call. Let's walk through them. Now, hang on. Before we go a single step further, we have to talk about safety. And I am being completely serious here. This is non-negotiable. These systems have high-voltage electricity and pressurized chemicals. If at any point you feel even a little bit unsure or unsafe, just stop. Stop what you're doing and call a professional. It is never, ever worth the risk. Okay, safety briefing over. Here are your 5 quick checks. First, head to your electrical panel and check the circuit breaker. Has it tripped? If it has, try resetting it just once. Second, the thermostat. Check the batteries and seriously, make sure it's actually set to cool. You'd be amazed. Third, and this is the big one, the air filter. A clogged filter is literally suffocating your AC and it is the #1 cause of bad performance. Fourth, pop outside and look at the outdoor unit. Make sure it's not smothered by bushes or anything, it needs room to breathe. And finally, just do a quick walk around inside and make sure all the vents are open and not blocked by a sofa or a bookshelf. So let's say you've gone through that checklist and the problem is still there. Okay, now it's time to become a bit of a detective. We need to decode the signals your AC is sending you, because understanding the symptom gives you a massive clue about the real problem. This is the classic complaint, right? The AC is running, you can hear it, but you're still sweating. Well, this almost always points to a problem with heat transfer. Dirty coils are like that warm blanket we talked about. Low refrigerant means there's not enough coolant to do the job. And leaky ducts? Well, that just means you're paying to air condition your ceiling space. Seeing water dripping from your indoor unit is, well, it's alarming. 9 times out of 10, the culprit is a clogged drain line. It's just like a block sink. All that humidity your AC pulls out of the air has nowhere to go, so it just overflows. You need to get this fixed fast before it causes some serious damage to your home. Your AC should be a gentle background hum. not a heavy metal concert. These sounds are basically mechanical screams for help. A high-pitched squeal could be a worn-out belt. A grinding or banging sound, that could be a really big problem with a compressor. Whatever you do, don't just turn up the volume on the TV. These are warning signs of a major failure about to happen. And, last but not least, trust your nose. If you get a musty, kind of dirty sock smell, that's probably mold growing in the unit, which is an air quality issue you need to fix. But a burning smell, that is a totally different story. That is an emergency. Shut the system off at the breaker immediately and call for help. That means there's a serious electrical problem. Which brings us right to our final section. You've done the basic checks, you've listened for the symptoms, and now it's time to know when to tap out and hand things over to the people who do this for a living. So let's make this crystal clear. It's time to call for service if your simple checks didn't work. If you see water or ice forming anywhere, if you smell anything burning, if that circuit breaker just keeps tripping over and over. Also, if your system is getting old, say over 12 years, and it's failing all the time, it may be time for a bigger conversation. And of course, the golden rule. If you are in doubt, just make the call. You know, the best way to avoid all this drama is just to have a smart plan. Think of it like a year-round cycle. Get a deep clean and service in April before the heat really kicks in, maybe a quick checkup in July during the peak, a post-summer service in October to see how it held up, and use the cooler winter months for any bigger, non-urgent jobs. This simple cycle is the real secret to a cool and totally stress-free summer. So the takeaway here is pretty simple. Prevention is always, always better and cheaper than a cure. In a city that absolutely runs on air conditioning, your best insurance policy is knowing there's a reliable, 24/7 service you can call when things go wrong. So the real question is, what's one thing you're going to do today to make sure your AC is ready for the heat?